So, should Meghan be entitled to privacy at public events? Well, journalist Sally Jones doesn't think so. She was at the match and says she was one of those warned about taking photos. She joins us now alongside our royal expert, Camilla Tominey. Welcome to both of you. So, Sally, as we said there, so this was last Thursday. This was court one, Serena Williams. What happened? What happened? Just explain the circumstances.
I popped in to watch Serena Williams play for a few minutes. I've been running around looking at different courts.
Yeah.
And I noticed a bit of a commotion down to my right and noticed a few people taking pictures and didn't think much of it. And then I looked again and I realised that the person there was actually Meghan Markle under a big hat, looking very pleasant, happy. And then I looked again and the next moment I had a tap on the shoulder from a very smartly dressed, very polite young man who I think it turned out was her royal protection officer, saying, would you not take pictures of the Duchess? She's here in a private capacity.
And you have no pictures on your phone of the Duchess?
I have no picture of the Duchess. If I had done, it would have been a blurry snap of her left ear because it was a side of her face at some distance from me. I wouldn't have chosen there to go and photograph her from.
So you were taking pictures of the court?
Williams. Yes,
and were
playing.
asked not to take photos of the Duchess, or just don't take pictures in general?
No, don't take pictures of the Duchess. And
But
they obviously thought that I was about to, or that had crossed my mind.
And you do wonder, even if you had,
yes,
why that... I mean, many people, you know, it's quite exciting when you see a member of the royal family out in public. It's sort of a, you know, it's a perk of something. You go to Ascot and you think, oh, my God, there's the Queen.
I'm a terrible old star spotter, but I wasn't actually taking her picture. I jokingly said to the protection officer, well, I'm here in a private capacity, but if I wanted to take a picture of anybody in this stadium, which I don't, but apart from Serena Williams, but if I did, I would actually have a perfect right, including Meghan, to take her picture.
And what did they say to that?
And he said, she looked very embarrassed, actually. I felt sorry for him because I think he was following orders, and I think that he was embarrassed.
Was he telling other people also?
I was the only one in my little section, so I didn't see him tell. But I think there were other protection officers telling other people not to.
Right.
Well, there's the picture that was that's in most of the papers.
I don't think he realises it's her, actually, does he? By the look of it, because he wouldn't be taking a selfie.
I mean, you'd have to be quite bold to go up.
Well, I think there's an argument for politeness, and obviously you guys probably get this. If you're going to have a mobile phone shoved in your face when you're out and about with your family, that's awkward, and you have to think of a way of working it, because some people can be a bit inappropriate because they just want to get the footage and overexcited. So I think everybody can understand people taking a respectful distance. And we know that this isn't the first time. I know you're going to speak to Ken Wharfe shortly, and he'll tell you from a bodyguard's perspective, you don't want people getting too close and you don't want people with phones in people's faces. It's just rude and inappropriate. But in this situation, the question is, she's there in a private capacity. In comparison to the Duchess of Cambridge, who went on an official visit to Wimbledon when she went, we get that. The question is, from a legal perspective, does she have a reasonable expectation of privacy in Court 1 at Wimbledon? No, of course she doesn't, because there are thousands of people in the actual stadium. There are cameras in the stadium and it's being televised live. So you can't have a reasonable expectation of privacy under those circumstances,
we went
I would
to Buckingham
argue.
Palace, obviously, and the spokesman said the royal family often ask for no photos, adding this is to enable members of the family to properly engage with people and events. Now, maybe engage with people and events. It's like, don't take a picture. I'm watching the tennis.
But she wasn't really engaging with people at events. She was there with two girlfriends to watch Serena Williams and had probably been given free tickets by Serena Williams, one assumes, you know, as a kind of mates rates thing. And that's perfectly fine. She's got a best friend who is a tennis star. And we know in the past, you know, there for the grace go all the royals, they love going to Wimbledon and they get wonderful hospitality all day. I don't think it's the criticism of that. I think it's the fact that this has come after a series of using a sledgehammer to crack a nut when it comes to privacy.
Well, it's the pictures of Archie, it's the godparents, it's the privacy of the christening, it's all of those sort of things that are beginning to rub people up the wrong way. Is she getting her PR wrong?
I think she is. I think that whoever is putting these edicts out about no photographs just doesn't understand the role of royals and working royals versus celebrities. I mean, you look at the Kardashian child. At aged 4, she gets out of a car and says, no photos, and it's almost an example of that, rather than being aware, just like the Duchess of Cambridge. I was there when the Duchess of Cambridge arrived 2 days earlier, came in with no fuss, no show. Plenty of people took her photograph, and then she went away. Nobody made a great fuss. In fact, nobody approached the Duchess of Sussex either.
Camilla, do you think that she's got the PR wrong?
It's difficult, isn't it, to make the transition from celebrity, and particularly American celebrity, where things are done a bit differently, and the royal family, in light of some of the secrecy around the birth of baby Archie and not knowing, first of all, where he had been born until the birth certificate revealed it. Then the secrecy around the godparents, even though that will become a Church of England document and we'll find out anyway. People are scratching their heads going, why are you being so cloak and dagger? But I think it's also against the context, and we've been reminded of this recently with the renovation of their house, Frogmore Cottage, which has cost the taxpayer 2.4 million, rising up to 3.2 million when it's done, that actually, unlike celebrities, royals are part subsidised, and therefore there is more of a public appetite and, you could argue, a public right to have access.
Well, someone who knows all about the intense attention that Meghan is facing is former bodyguard Ken Wharfe. He was the personal protection officer for Diana, the Princess of Wales, for many years. He joins us now live from the south of France. Ken, what would Harry's mum say to him?
Well, I think she'd say, you better get on with it. But, I mean, it's good to hear Camilla there, a seasoned royal watcher, and I can't disagree with anything she says. And also the lady that was, I would say, accosted by the bodyguard. I mean, if I got involved with photographers during Diana's short reign, and even when I worked with the Duke of Kent at Wimbledon, I'd be chasing photographers all around Wimbledon and the rest of the world. I think the whole point is that Meghan Markle can never really have privacy in a public event such as this. From what I can see, I don't think she was complaining about it. I think the bodyguard looks as though he got slightly overzealous, and in the process of that makes the problem even worse. And so, you know, to answer your first question, Phil, I mean, Diana just got on and lived with it. And this is what royals do. They like this. At the end of the day, I mean, this is tremendous publicity. I don't know whether she gave advice to her bodyguard or otherwise, but it would appear to me that he seemed to take it upon himself to deal with it, which I think was a mistake.
But would a bodyguard do that? I mean, you being one yourself, would you ever have taken it upon yourself to act like that on behalf of Diana, for example, without being given that instruction?
Well, no, I mean, she would never have given that sort of instruction. But, you know, short of the photographer coming along with a bag full of sand-laden tennis balls, I'd have just let it run because, you know, that's how it is. People at Wimbledon are decent people, and they see Meghan, who's a global celebrity. It doesn't take too much to realise that if you've got a camera, well, let's take a picture. It isn't life-threatening.
All right, Ken, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.